Well, welcome to Celebrity Countdown and a warm welcome to everybody watching on More 4. The clock's poised, letters all neatly stacked, the numbers are tucked away in their little compartments. Everything's ready for Celebrity Countdown. We've two arbiters of the airwaves, both radio presenters, so we know they can make entertaining radio, but can they make long words from a selection of letters? First, from Radio 6 Music, we have the wonderful Stuart Maconie. Now, come on, be honest, Stuart. It's very important. Are you a Countdown fan? Have you watched Countdown? Have you played at home?
Yes, since I was a tiny child when it first came on in 1982. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And what's wonderful, of course, is that you're responsible for actually coming up with a word that's found its way into the dictionary. Tell us what it was, what it is, rather, and when you coined it.
So, I believe, back in the 90s when I was a music journalist on monthly magazines, I got very bored with grunge music, which seemed to me a lot of people with long hair singing these songs that were essentially, I don't want to tidy my room, and they looked like they'd come to creosote your fence. And I thought there were a lot of British groups who were stylish and funny and clever, and I lumped a few of them together, Blur and Suede and Pulp, and said they were Britpop. And I believe that is now in the dictionary, although I believe it's capitalised, so I couldn't have it in this game.
Don't you worry about that. You coined a phrase and it got into the dictionary. Where it will remain forevermore, I guess.
Well,
brilliant.
I hope so, yeah.
Well done for that. And you're up against LBC's James O'Brien. Welcome, James.
Thank you very much.
Now, James, are you a Countdown man?
I can't believe he swatted up on the date that it started, because I thought that was going to be my joker in the pack. But yes, I am. I mean, religiously. I'm just looking forward to discovering how bad I am at it.
But you're from a wordy family. Your dad was a journalist on the Telegraph, I think.
That's right.
And you're a
man.
heavyweight political broadcaster and podcaster too.
Well, I don't know about heavyweight, but I do both of those things to the best of my abilities, yes.
I expect lots from you.
Oh, don't.
Anyway, big round of applause for both of them.
Thank you.
And over in the corner, Susie, our beloved Susie. And sitting next to Susie is one of our favourites, Rufus Hound, actor, comedian, poet. You are a poet.
Only on Countdown.
How about that?
Only on Countdown.
Only on Countdown. Well, we love you for it. We love you for it, Rufus. And, of course, we have Rachel, just the greatest mathematician that anybody could ever wish to have.
Why, thank you, Nick. And I've got some news when it comes to numbers.
Come on.
Because today our contestants are going to score more than they might do on a regular countdown. We've actually changed the scoring for the celebrity specials. So if one of you were to get a 6-letter word and one of you were to get a 7-letter word, assuming they are both words, you will both score points, whereas normally it would only be the winning contestant. So that works for the letters rounds and the numbers rounds.
Oh, right, okay.
So it's even worth going for a 1, even if you don't find anything. You can always find an A or an I in there.
Yeah. You happy with that?
Thanks.
Good.
Thanks for the vote of confidence.
And now we're going to have a letters game. Stuart, you're up. It's a letters game.
OK. Vowel, please, Rachel.
Thank you, Stuart. U.
Consonant.
M.
Consonant.
N.
Vowel.
E.
Consonant.
R.
Vowel.
I.
How many more have I got?
You've got another 3.
OK. Consonant.
S.
Vowel, please.
A.
And consonant.
And your last one, T.
And here comes the countdown clock. Well, Stuart?
7.
A 7. And James?
7.
Stuart, 7.
Remains.
James?
Minster.
Minster.
Very good.
Minster. Now, what about the corner? Rufus, Susie?
I was looking at these letters thinking there is one really good word in here somewhere. And as I was having that thought, Susie slid over a bit of paper with 2 8s and 2 9s on it.
Come along.
Come along. So there's raiments, an aneurysm for 8.
Oh.
But for 9, ruminates and anti-serum.
Amazing. That's wonderful. Well done. So it's 7 apiece. And now, over to Rachel. Rachel.
Well, I'm going to give some more tips today for how to solve the countdown numbers game. So I've pre-selected, it's one of everyone's favourite selections, the 6 small numbers. I say that as a joke because it's one of the hardest ones. So if I press my magic button, we shall get a target. And sometimes when you look at a number, it gives away something about itself by just looking at it. So I'm going to talk about factors. I'm going to take you back to school today. And if you look at this number, you can see instantly that the last number is a 5. So 5 is always a factor of 385. So, and you can work it out. You can divide 385 by 5, work out it's 5 times 77. But there's actually another hidden factor that's lurking in this number that I can just see instantly as soon as I see it. And it's one of my favourites because it's the day I was born on. So I'm going to talk about how to spot if a number's divisible by 11. And if we think of any 3-digit number, if you write the first digit as A, the second digit as B, and the third digit as C, there's a rule that if A plus C equals B, then that number is divisible by 11. If I say the 3 is the 8 is the B, and the C is the 5, we have A plus C, 3 plus 5 equals 8. And from that, we also know that AC times 11 equals ABC. I told you this was like going back to school. We've got a bit of algebra. So we know just by looking at this that 35 times 11 equals 385. And the reason this is so good in the countdown numbers game is because then you can take away a couple of numbers to make your 11, and then all you have to do is find the remaining 35 from the other ones, and it becomes a lot more simple. There are proper mathematical reasons why this works. If these two numbers add up to more than 10, then it might be a hidden number that's divisible by 11, but this will always work. If the 3-digit number follows this simple rule, then you can say confidently that the first number, the third number times 11 equals that 3-digit number.
So that's all digested and ready to go. So it's back to you, Rachel.
It's back to me, and you might have guessed that I'm going to pick 6 small numbers now.
Oh, God.
And there might have been a little bit of a hint in that last little tip I gave you. So you might want to look at finding 11 out of these if we get a lucky target. Let's see. Let's keep our fingers crossed. But I'm going to pick 6 small ones, and I'm hoping that class was paying attention today. And our 6 small numbers are 5, 2, 3, 7, 9, and 8.
Okay.
And the target to reach, 671.
671. Stuart,
Yes.
how did it go?
Really quite badly.
Anything to offer?
No.
Don't worry. And James, how was it for you?
I think I might have got it.
Yeah, come on, James. Come on,
Good
James.
man.
Ready to go top of the class.
8 plus 3 is 11.
8 plus 3 is 11.
9 times 7 is 63.
9 times 7 is 63.
Take 2 off the 63.
Is 61.
And 61 times 11 is...
671. Very
Get
well,
in.
James.
Good man. How about that?
I've already forgotten how I did it.
Well done. Anyway, there we are. 17 plays 7 as we we turn to our first conundrum. Oh, yes. Fingers on buzzers, gentlemen. Just in front of you, James. That's it. We're about to roll today's Countdown Conundrum. No? No, no, no. Time's up. Let's roll it. This has got to be difficult. Let's see what we've got here. Broadcast. You've got to watch this game today. All right, so 17-7, and we turn to our first teaser, which is Maconied. And the clue, he's got to be having a laugh, surely. He's got to be having a laugh, surely. Warm welcome back. I left you with the clue, he's got to be having a laugh, surely. And the answer to that is comedian. Comedian. So, James on 17, Stuart on 7. And, Stuart, here you are. You started as a journalist, I think, and then radio. You heard the call.
As a music journalist, yeah. I got my break, as a lot of people did, in music journalism. I wrote for the New Musical Express, the NME.
Yeah.
And then a radio producer came to make a documentary about the NME and said, you ought to do some radio over a few drinks in a pub, you know, so that kind of thing. And then it followed on, the radio career followed on from that. A lot of people wrongly assume I've got my radio jobs through nepotism because they wrongly think I'm something to do with Marconi. So they assume, like, well, your granddad invented the medium, so that's probably how you got the job. But
That's going back a bit.
Yeah.
Tell me about radio. How important is your voice, the timbre of your voice, the tone, is that important, or is it actually what's up here?
Once upon a time, I don't think someone who spoke with my accent probably would have been on national radio. But I don't know, actually. Maybe that's unfair, because Wilfred Pickles was a big radio star,
sure,
wasn't he, back in the day?
I was a kid.
Just slightly before my time. But, you know, I think people like a voice that's kind of, I don't know what James would think, engaging on some level, I guess, you know? But then again, you hear some people who've got radio voices that are like fingers down a blackboard to me, and yet they've become hugely successful.
Name names.
No. An interesting thing about radio, about DJ voices, is that the great Craig Brown, the humorist Craig Brown, said that only one bit of satire has ever worked. You know, satire's idea is to change the world. No satire has ever worked. The only bit of satire that's ever worked is Smashy and Nicey on The Fast Show. That almost overnight, DJs went, oh, my God, do we sound like that? And changed the way they spoke, you know.
Ah, interesting. Brilliant stuff. Now, 17-7, James in the lead. It's James's letters game. Yes, sir.
Consonant, please, Rachel.
Thank you, James. P.
And another.
R.
And another.
C.
And a vowel, please.
O.
And another vowel.
I.
And another vowel.
E.
And a consonant, please.
T.
And a consonant, please.
M.
And a vowel.
And the last one. O.
Stand by. Yes, James.
6.
A 6 for James. Stuart?
6.
James?
Cornet.
A cornet from James. Stuart?
I thought I could get T-I-O-N to end in something and put some words there, but I can't. So I'm afraid I get nothing.
Oh. Rufus?
Well, I did exactly the same, T-I-O-N. So for a 6, you could have had option.
Option.
But if you'd have added the R, you could have had portion.
Neat. Susie?
Very
For
neat.
7.
Pointer and protein for a couple more 7s, but there is an 8 there. Entropic, something that lacks order or predictability.
Thank you. Thanks, Susie. OK. Stuart, you're on. Letters game. Good luck.
Consonant, please, Rachel.
Thank you, Stuart. Y.
Vowel.
E.
Consonant.
N.
Consonant.
T.
Vowel.
A.
Vowel.
I.
Consonant.
S.
Consonant.
B.
And vowel, please.
And lastly, U.
And the clock starts now. Well, Stuart,
I think I've only got a 4.
not so bad. And James?
4.
There we are. You see, Stuart? What's your 4?
And I'm hoping that yens.
James?
Buys.
Yes, both fine. Yen is there as a verb, to feel a longing or yearning. Yeah.
And Rufus? Rufus and Susie?
This probably says more about me than the game that I immediately saw Busty. But that's only a 5. There is a 7.
Yeah.
Your aunties are there.
Aunties. Thank you. All right, 27 plays 11, and it's a numbers game for James. Yes, James?
Could I have 1 from the top, please, Rachel, and 5 smaller ones?
A popular choice, James. 1 large one, 5 little ones. Moves us swiftly away from the 6 small. And for this round, we have 6, 7, 8, 6, 2, and 75. And the target, 414.
414. Yes, James?
414.
414. Stuart, what news?
No, I think I've only got 411.
It'll do. Stuart?
775s are 385.
Oh, I'm afraid they're 525.
Oh, well, there you go.
385 on the brain from the last tip.
I think I must have, yeah.
I think it's my fault.
Oh, wow.
Sorry, Stuart.
Let's blame Rachel. Meanwhile, let's have a word with James. James is frowning. You all right?
No.
Well, no.
Be brave.
What do you think?
8 minus 2 is 6.
That's a good start. I like it.
Times 75.
Times 75 is 450.
Minus 6 times 6.
And then the other 6's times together, and that is perfect. 414.
So, 2 in a row. There we are. 37 to 11. James in the lead as we swivel, full of expectation and excitement, to Rufus. Rufus, what's up today?
Well, I only do poems on Countdown, and this may be an exercise in misjudging the mood, because this is a much more jolly affair. Sometimes on regular Countdown, people like a bit of pathos in the middle of the week, but anyway, this is it. I would love to tell you how I feel, and for you to hear it, and for that to change you, and for that change to be just so damned meaningful that from the moment you hear it to your last breath, your every waking moment is awash with unparalleled joy. And that every time your eyes ping open, from every blink you blink, the sense of wonder and excitement at being alive, at the endless possibilities, at the ripe, reachable fruit begging for your basket is so overwhelming that you worry you might just judder to a halt, seize like an overused tin toy, break at the weight of being's beauty. I would love to tell you what I think and for you to hear it and know deep down that you had always thought the same way, because really, it's just what everyone thinks, isn't it? And that the differences between us are so laughably superficial and our similarities so deep that any time we spend arguing just makes us both look stupid. Two naked emperors laughing at the other's new clothes. And I used to think that if I just told you how I felt, that would be enough. And I used to think that if I just explained what I thought, that'd be that. So I did. And it didn't. And that made me sad. And that made me angry. So now I'll tell you what I feel, what I think. I'll tell you I feel so angry and I think you're an idiot. And that any argument you throw back at me only goes to prove my point. God, it feels so good to be right. Idiot, idiot, idiot. That's right. Go. Cry to your idiot friends, idiot, while me and my friends who aren't idiots all laugh at you idiots. And when you all shout idiot back, we'll shout idiot back at you idiots. And then let's see how you idiots like that. Until everyone everywhere is just shouting idiot all the time. Man, how great is that going to be? Some eternally echoing sounds of shrieking. I mean, they say in space nobody can hear you scream, but maybe we've just not been trying. Maybe if we all bellow loud enough, we could snuff out the sun like sneezing on a birthday candle. And once we've killed the sun, once all life on this planet has been snuffed out, let's see who the real idiots are then, eh? Yeah, idiot.
Whoa!
That's amazing. You deserve a drink. That was great. That really was great. Well done. Thank you. 37 to 11 as we go into our next teaser, which is Sea Swirl. And the clue: there are no cables involved with this set at all. There are no cables involved with this set at all. Warm welcome back. I left you with the clue: there are no cables involved with this set at all. Maybe that's because it's a wireless set. Wireless is the answer to that. 37 to 11. James in the lead. And James, you started out as a journalist because your dad was a journalist, you think? Was he a big influence?
Yes, all I ever really wanted to be was like him. And journalism proved furiously resistant to my charms and talents. And my student job as a tailor, I was working in menswear, had become my kind of bread and butter job. But I still was desperate to get into journalism. I was getting turned down for traineeships left, right and centre. And then a flu epidemic swept the whole store, and it meant that a couple of us youngsters got tasked with kitting John Major, then the Prime Minister, out with a new suit. You'll remember at the time, Spitting Image was portraying him as grey. I mean, even his skin was grey. Everything about him was grey, and he famously wore his underpants on the outside of his trousers. And there was believe it or not, there was a European Union summit coming up in Florence, and he said to us that he fancied something a little bit racy. So John Major, Mr. Grey, bought a white suit off us. Whoa. Which is an astonishing story at the time, because the only people who wore white suits were John Travolta and Tom Wolfe. Yeah. and now John Major. So I went back to the shop and I thought, this probably isn't going to endear me to my current employer, but it might be what I need to get onto my next employer. I rang up the Daily Express, I offered them the story. They offered me a few £100, and I asked for a couple of shifts instead, on my dad's advice, and I got a couple of shifts, and that finally was the foot in the door that I needed.
Oh, that's brilliant. And did he ever wear the white suit?
He did. I never got a picture of him in it, but I did hear on good authority that he cut quite the dash in it in Florence. Wow. that
really?
Summer. Yeah.
I never saw a picture because that was a big story.
They mocked it up inevitably on the column in the Daily Express. They mocked him up as John Travolta, but the suit that I fitted, Nick, was it certainly wasn't flared. Had nice side seams, possibly two buttons. It was bang on the money. Bang on.
And that got you into Fleet Street.
That got me through the door. Yeah.
Well done.
And it's an amazing coincidence because I once sold Geoffrey Howe a studded leather poncho.
37 plays 11. James in the lead. Stuart, welcome back. Letters game.
Consonant, please, Rachel.
Thank you, Stuart. R.
Vowel.
A.
Consonant.
W.
Consonant.
T.
Vowel, please.
I.
Consonant.
P.
Vowel.
O.
Consonant.
M.
Consonant, please.
And the last one, X.
Oh, wow.
And it's countdown. Stuart.
7.
James?
6.
And your 6 is?
Ration.
Ration. Stuart?
Portion.
You need 2 O's. Proportion. Oh.
Ouch.
I'm sorry.
Why didn't I go with my other, which is weapon?
Yeah, you need an E for that.
Oh, so in fact, I think my mind's going, Dave.
She can be cruel, I tell you.
No, I think the word you're looking for is accurate.
Rufus, what have you got?
Ration was what I
Ration.
had, yeah.
Susie, anything else?
Yeah, Prion is a nice 5. A small petrel, the bird of southern seas. But that's about it. It was a really tough
Thank you.
one.
Thanks very much. All right, 43 plays 11. James, your letters game now.
Consonant, please, Rachel.
Thank you, James. G.
And another.
S.
And another.
N.
And a vowel, please.
E.
And another.
O.
And another.
A.
And a consonant, please.
R.
And another consonant.
S.
And a vowel, please.
And lastly, I.
Stand by. Yes, James.
7.
A 7. Stuart.
7.
Thank you, James.
Gassia.
And Stuart?
Singers.
Yes, both very good.
Now, Rufus, can you match it or beat it?
Well, I got soaring, which I was pretty happy about, but looking at it, it was like, there's definitely something there.
Yeah.
And just as the bell went, I got it. As Susie slid it over to me, there's a 9.
Oh, OK.
Which is?
Organises.
Oh, yeah. Well done. Very good. Thanks, chaps. 50-18. Now it's a numbers game for our friend Stuart.
A large one and the rest small, please, Rachel.
Thank you, Stuart. 1 from the top and 5 little ones. And the third one is a charm. That's what they say. The little ones here are 2, 6, 3, 4, and another 4. And the large one, 50. And this target, 738.
738. So, how was it? Stuart?
I'm afraid now I'm nowhere near again.
James?
I might have 746.
Off you go.
Yeah, 4 plus 6.
4 plus 6 is 10.
3 plus 2.
3 plus 2 is 5.
15 times 50.
So 10 plus the 5
Yeah.
for 15. Times that by 50 for 750.
Minus whatever's left.
Minus the second 4 is, yep, 746. Gets you 5 points. Well done.
Well done. But 738, Rachel, unwrap that for us, would you?
This wasn't the easiest one, but it was possible. If you start with 50 times 2 is 100. Add 6 for 106. 4 plus 3 is 7. Times those together for 742, and you have a second 4 left over to take away for 738.
Terrific. Spot on as ever. And it's 55 to 18 as we turn to Susie. Susie, your wonderful origins of words. What have you for us today?
Well, generally, I try to come up with a word origin that will somehow link with our guests. But I promise I haven't done that this time, so forgive me, because I'm going to talk about bastards and also Batman and the link between the two, because believe it or not, there is. But it goes back to an older meaning of Batman, long before the Dark Knight. So in the mid-18th century, a Batman was an officer in charge of a bat horse, and this was a pack horse who carried the officer's baggage. And that bat goes back to a Latin word bastum, which means pack saddle. Now, bastard comes in because it comes from the same Latin word, the pack saddle. And a fils de bast in French was a pack saddle son. And the idea was that there was a sort of loose-living driver of the horses, or driver of the mules even, who would use a pack saddle for a pillow and then wander from one town to the next, and possibly fathering a few illegitimate children along the way. So Batman and bastard strangely linked. But I only talk about the real Batman as well, and a Batman-themed word that has a really surprising origin, and that's the name Gotham, New York City's Gotham. And we tend to think of Gotham today as a kind of dark, brooding city in the Batman movies that's always on the brink of destruction and needs rescuing. But the term actually goes back to medieval England, and it means goat's town. Gotham means goat's town in Anglo-Saxon, which is really strange because you can't see a connection between the two at all. And Gotham is also the name of a town in England. It's in Nottinghamshire, Beetle, so I'm told. So how did that come about? Well, it goes back to Washington Irving. In 1807, he had a really satirical magazine called Salmagundi, and it said that he was inspired by a folk tale called The Wise Men of Gotham. And in this tale, the residents of England's Gotham's village caught wind that King John was about to visit, travelling through their town. They thought it would bring chaos, you know, they need to spend money, it would be an expensive thing, and it wasn't something that they would particularly welcome. So they decided that to avoid the circus, they would decide to feign madness. They would pretend to be mad, and then he would avoid them altogether. So they performed really crazy stunts. They tried to drown an eel in a pond, built a fence around a bush to prevent a cuckoo from escaping. This is everything that they told the sort of vanguard of the king's army, if you like, or the king's retinue. And it worked. The shenanigans worked. King John bypassed Gotham, thinking, I'm definitely not going to go there. And by repeatedly using the word Gotham in a publication, it was created in a way to lampoon New York's culture. So the idea was that New York was full of crazy people who would go about doing the oddest things. But New Yorkers loved it, and they really embraced the nickname because they knew that he was mocking them a little bit, but they thought, well, we're crazy, but, you know, we're proud of it. And I think that's pretty true, certainly of people in Brooklyn and Manhattan that I know. So Gotham, yeah, Gotham in Nottinghamshire still exists. And believe it or not, Goat Ham, Goat Home or whatever was the inspiration for, you know, the city and the Dark Knight, which is pretty strange.
Wonderful.
Thank
you. That's lovely.
Batman. I had no idea. That was my link.
The first tattoo I ever got on my 21st birthday was Batman.
Well,
fantastic.
There we go now. 55 to 18. It's time for our next teaser, which is Hear Radio. And the clue, you'll never hear our celebrities spouting this verbal nonsense on the radio. You'll never hear our celebrities spouting this verbal nonsense on the radio. Well, welcome back, welcome back. I left you with the clue you'll never hear our celebrities spouting this verbal nonsense on the radio. This verbal nonsense and spouting being diarrhea. Diarrhea, I should hope not. 55 to 18, and it's James in the lead in James's letters game.
A consonant, please, Rachel.
Thank you, James. B.
And another.
S.
And another.
D.
And a vowel, please.
E.
And another vowel.
O.
And another vowel, please.
U.
And a consonant, please.
L.
And a consonant, please.
M.
And one more vowel, please.
And the last one, E.
Stand by. Yes, James.
Just a 6.
A 6, Stuart.
6.
And James?
Moulds.
Thank you. You moulding too?
Same one, moulds.
Now, Rufus.
We actually got 7s over here because I'm sat next to somebody much smarter than I am. Modules was 1.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
But
Doubles.
Doubles.
So
there
there's
we go.
one.
Excellent.
Yep.
Perfect. 24 plays 61. Stuart, your letters game. Good luck.
Consonant, please, Rachel.
Thank you, Stuart. N.
Vowel.
A.
Consonant.
F.
Consonant.
M.
Vowel.
E.
Vowel.
I.
Consonant.
R.
Vowel.
U.
Consonant.
And the last one, D.
Stand by. Well, Stuart.
Oh, what the hell? I'm good. Let me look at it. 8.
James.
Just 6.
And your 6 is?
Framed.
Now then, Stuart.
Unfarmed.
Yes. Very, very good.
come on! That's the stuff.
Strong stuff. Now, Rufus and Susie.
Yeah, I'm farmed for 8. Maunder for 7.
Yes, to ramble on.
Yeah.
Unframed, you could have had as well. You could have stuck the un on.
Okay.
But yeah, those were our best.
Very good. OK, 32 to 67. James, it's your letters game now. Off we go.
A consonant, please, Rachel.
Thank you, James. S.
And another consonant.
G.
And a vowel, please.
A.
And another vowel.
E.
And a consonant, please.
T.
And another consonant.
W.
And another consonant, please.
L.
And a vowel.
O.
And another consonant, please.
And the last one, T.
Stand by. Well, James?
5.
5 for James. Stuart?
What the hell? I don't care. 7.
Ooh.
It's how we like to see the game
Well,
played.
I'm crashing out in flames with my mouth, so I might as well make these...
Let's have a word with James and see what he's come up with. James.
Glows.
Glows now then. Stuart.
Wattles?
Yes, well done again.
That's very good. Now, Rufus and Susie, you put your heads together and...
No, that was ours. That kind of
That was
fleshy
it?
bit that comes down from a turkey.
Yeah.
Bottleneck.
All I would say is be very careful if you're going to Google that at home, because quite famously Donald Trump's looks like something altogether different.
Thank you very much for that, Rufus. Thank you. Now, 72 to 39. We're finished with the letters game, but we're not finished with you, Rufus. Because you're on stage, stand up, but also you're on the radio.
Yes.
You're on Radio 4, and you've got a wonderful show called My Teenage Diary. Tell us a little bit about that and give us a little taste of it.
A little flavour of it. Well, it's pretty self-explanatory, really. We have guests on who wrote diaries when they were teenagers, and then they come on and read chunks of it out, and then I poke fun at them or tell them it'll all be all right in a minute. But we were a little 15-minute show quite late at night that Radio 4 has sort of 11:15. And then the guest we got for the second series, thinking the second series would almost certainly be our last, was Sheila Hancock, who'd kept this diary, not of her whole teenage years, but of a specific trip that she'd taken, having been an evacuee. One of her teachers said, look, the world is a bigger place than it seems to you, and I've got these friends in Paris who run a theatre. So I've organised it with them. You can go off to Paris and basically be their summer maid. And she'd done all the work she could do for them in the first 2 hours of her day, and the rest of her day was free to go off and be this kid who'd come from bombed-out grey London to Paris, which was, of course, untouched. And this diary charts the journey of a young woman from tiny-minded, oh, everything's terrible, to, oh, my stars, the universe awaits. And we were very lucky in that somebody from Radio 4 was at that record, and they just bowled up to us straight afterwards and went, well, there's no way that can go out 15 minutes. We have to have half hours, and the only slot we've got for that is the 6:30 comedy slot. So we went from being a real minor thought based on Sheila Hancock's brilliance to being in the prime time Radio 4 slot, and we're now on series 9 or something.
Lovely. Thanks, Rufus. OK. So here we go. Final numbers game. Rachel.
Ladies' choice. And you know what they say, Stuart? The fourth one's a charm. So I'm going to pick the kindest one, the 2 from the top and 4 little. We'll give you some points for the final numbers game. And the selection is 3, 2, 6, 4, 75 and 25. And the target, 306.
306. Yes, Stuart.
Well, incredibly, I think I've got it.
Well done. And James.
I think I do as well.
So, Stuart.
4 times 75 is 300.
75 by 4, 300.
Plus 66.
Perfect.
Plus 6 is 306.
It is indeed. 300.
And James.
Well, astonishingly, lightning has struck twice on this one. I have
Can I
exactly...
have a look, please?
Well, all right, there you go.
You happy?
Yeah.
OK, guys. And into the final round. It's conundrum time, chaps. Fingers on buzzers. Here's today's countdown conundrum. Stuart.
Frequency.
Oh, well played.
Says James. Frequency. Let's see whether you're right. Well done, Stuart. Frequency. 59 to 82, nothing in it, really. So you take this goodie bag home with you with our thanks.
Thank you.
But, James, you get the priceless kryptonite.
Thank you very much.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Congratulations. Good game. A good game indeed. Rufus?
It was a lovely game.
It was a great game.
It was a lovely game. It's always nice to see people realising at the end that, you know, it might be time to try. And that's always the most thrilling part.
And your poem was something else. Amazing.
Well, that's very kind.
It
Probably
was.
not true,
It
but
was
thank
amazing.
you.
You come and see us again soon, Susie.
Yes.
See you next time.
Definitely. See you then.
And Rachel too.
Yeah, and it's always interesting when we have contestants in that have actually watched it since 1982. It's a bit strange and nostalgic to actually be in the set, but it was strange for me to actually hear your voices asking me for consonants and vowels, because I'm used to just hearing disembodied Stuart and James, so
Lovely.
it's a privilege.
All right. And we'll see you again soon. You be sure of it.
And next time is the same time tomorrow when top shoppers Anna Richardson and Sabrina Grant face off. Over on Channel 4 in a couple of minutes, get your 5 a day the food unwrapped way as New Year health secrets are revealed. And here on More 4 next, Dex bought the biggest mini tractor ever.